What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Open Table Sports Podcast, episode 7. I'm here with Dom. It's just the two of us today. We're going to be banging out some stuff. Today's not going to be as long because obviously there's only two of us and there hasn't been much going on in the sports world. So we're going to get things rolling today. What's going on, Dom? How you doing?
Yeah, things are going pretty well. It's kind of a slow week.
How was your week, Dom?
It was pretty good. It was pretty slow in the sports world, like you said.
Was it eventful besides the sports world? Because I know, the Open Table Sports team, or as Big Daddy likes to say, the cream team.
Yeah.
We thrive on sports. This is why we do it. We do it for you guys, but most importantly, we do it for ourselves because we love sports. So that's why I bring you the podcast every week. So that's pretty much it. So, we go to the University of Bridgeport, which we'd like to thank. We'd like to thank the Mario Chaos and the Kid podcast. I am the kid on that show. Take a listen. We just released episode 12. Yes, episode 12 of that podcast, Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling, which me, Dom, and Mason were at last Saturday at New Year's Retribution. Did some promos, some interviews, took some videos. So go check out Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling in East Haven, Connecticut. We'd like to thank Fightful.com, the other website that I write for everything wrestling, MMA, and boxing. And then Boost Oxygen for helping us, be here today. We're in the Open Table Sports studio on the campus of University of Bridgeport and Bridgeport, Connecticut. We are Purple Knights, and we do attend the University of Bridgeport. So with that being said, we're going to get on with the kickoff talk. Anything you'd like to add there, Dom? I ran through that pretty quick.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, how we went last Saturday. It was really cool to, get to experience some wrestling in person,
some great. What was your favorite part of that wrestling show there, Dom?
It was pretty cool. I'd never really been to a wrestling event. It was really cool, getting to meet the guys beforehand. You guys were doing the promos beforehand.
I brought him backstage because I work for Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling, PAPW, if you will. A lot of good matches last week. We talk about all that on the Mario Chaos and the Kid podcast. So you could shoot over to the MCK podcast on Twitter and shoot us a follow and take a listen to a couple of our episodes. They are very explicit. They are very out there, unlike this podcast. But take a good listen. And as always, shoot Open Table Sports a like, retweet, follow, whatever it may be. That's pretty much it. We're gonna get going in the kickoff talk. We're going to give our final Super Bowl thoughts, and we'll throw it over to you, Dom.
We're 2 days away. This game's going to be hit or miss. I think, you've got the experience of New England, and then you got the youngness of Los Angeles. It could be a good game, two explosive offenses. Hopefully we see a good, some defense in this game a lot of fans would love a shootout, but defense is always good to see. And as long as this doesn't get out of hand in the first half for the Rams, I'm starting to think maybe they'll have a shot. If this gets out of hand where they go down, 3 scores in the first or second quarter, it's going to be a long fight up, and you really need two dimensions to beat the Patriots. You can't be just pass only or run only. And on the opposite hand, that's how the Rams got to stop the Patriots. I think it starts with stopping the run game. You got to make Tom Brady throw the ball 40, 50 times.
Yeah, that's going to be a main play. And there is the Rams defensive line and the Patriots running backs. That's going to be the main, I guess you could say matchup for the game is the Rams defensive line versus the Patriots running backs. We know obviously Tom Brady can make any receiver part of the game at any time. But I think it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with that Rams defensive line because that's what basically their entire team is built on is their defensive line. That's their core. They obviously have 4 first-round picks on that defensive line, Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald up the middle, Michael Brockers and Dante Fowler Jr. on the edges. Mm-hmm. I don't see a better defensive line in the entire NFL.
Yeah, and that's going to be big. That's how the Giants in their 2 Super Bowls.
The Bulls have cut Carmelo Anthony and are planning to allow him to become a free agent.
Nothing shocking there.
Yeah. Back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, it starts with that defensive line. They got to get to Brady. That's how the Giants did it the 2 times. They, rattled Brady.
Michael Strahan, Justin Tuck, they got there, man.
And that's it. That's all it took. And last year, At the end of the game, the Eagles' defensive line got to Brady, made him fumble, and that sealed the game.
Eagles had a good defensive line last year as well. That was another thing to look at. They're almost comparable teams from last year, but Rams are a little bit better. I just think the Patriots have more experience. They have Brady. I don't know.
It's going to be kind of hard to see Brady lose 2 in a row like that.
Yeah.
You know, Brady's 5-3. I can't see him going to 5-4. You know, this isn't Brady shows up.
So if he loses his game, is he still one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time if he does go 5-4? 5 out of 9.
I mean, you look at last year, it wasn't his fault. He threw for over 500 yards. It's his Super Bowl record, and it was a loss. The defense was awful. Still questioning why they benched Malcolm Butler. I mean, I don't think Malcolm Butler is a top corner, but he's still better than whatever they had.
Yeah, well, he showed up late to practice facilities, didn't show up to one practice. He had his issues last year. But now it's kind of looking at, is Brady still that top guy who can get the job done? Can you lose 2 Super Bowls in a row? We'll find out Sunday. My final score, I think it's going to be more on the low-scoring side. I think I'm going to go 31-27.
Okay.
I'm going to go towards the Rams. I think the overall thing that's going to really cut apart the Patriots defense is Cooks and Woods. I think those two are going to have a field day, even though they have Gilmore and all the other guys in that secondary that are playing somewhat well, 11th in the pass, 22nd against the rush. But I don't know. I just think that team that the Rams have, I think Gurley's going to go off. I think he's going to get at least 25 touches. So I don't know. I have the Rams 31-27. Who do you got?
I probably, I hate to say it, I think I've got New England 38-31.
Dom, what are you doing to me over here? Picking the Patriots? Come on, Dom.
I'm not rooting for the Patriots, but I can't. You can't bet against them.
I know you can't bet against them, but you kind of just have to say, all right, this has to be it for Brady.
I mean, Brady, I don't think he's done. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised this isn't his last Super Bowl. He gets to a 10th. And, I mean, if he gets that 6th ring, I mean, it's going to be hard to say he's not the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets 6, I mean.
That's literally tied for the most Super Bowls in the franchise. So
if he does play anymore, do you think, say they win Sunday, does he get 7?
It'd be hard to go put against him. It'd be really hard to, look past that thought.
Do you think Brady has it in him to get 7? Do you think they can still put a team around Brady?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with the offensive line, and they haven't had issues with the offensive line. And usually, it takes, maybe the first half of the season for the Patriots to get rolling. But once they get rolling, you can't stop them.
Well, I mean, Patriots are hard to bet against. People thought they were just going to steamroll over the Eagles last year, and they didn't. So, I mean, you can either bet against them, for them, whatever it may be. But Patriots are a little bit shaky team, you could say. Especially this year, being 11-5, not being that dominant team, should have lost a couple more games, but they got out lucky. Like the game against the Chiefs, I know they got lucky in that one. They got lucky against the Texans. Just a couple games they got out squeaking by.
Yeah.
But that's it. We're split here. I still have Rams. I think last week I maybe picked the Patriots, but I thought about it a little bit more. I pondered it. I stayed up at night staring at the ceiling, and I said, you know what? Rams are going to get the job done. They're more motivated, I would say. Goff, I think he's going to go out there. I know we're talking about him maybe looking like a goof in the first quarter. Maybe he does, but I think overall that defensive line is going to get to Brady.
Yeah.
4 first-round picks. Michael Brockers, I think he's going to have a sleeper good game. Ndamukong Suh. Aaron Donald's going to clog up the middle. He'll stop Michelle and White. It'll be a good overall game. Do you think it'll be one of the best Super Bowls of all time?
It has the potential to be good. I don't think it'd be one of the greatest. It'll be hard to put up like the 2 Giants-Patriots matchups, like the Cardinals-Steelers. Those are some of the best. Last year was really good. I know as fans all around the country, all around the world, they just don't want to see another like Denver-Seattle game. They don't want to see a blowout. No one likes seeing a blowout in a Super Bowl.
Now, Super Bowl MVP, I'll go with who I think might win it. Aaron Donald. Do you want to know why? Because the Patriots are centered around the run game.
Mhm.
That's the main thing, is being centered around the run game. I know they have Brady. I know he likes to make plays. But ultimately, they do survive on the run. Look at some of the games they won this year. Brady had 200 passing yards, but the rushing game was really good.
Mhm.
So I think we see Aaron Donald get the MVP for the Rams if they win. If the Patriots win,
It's hard to look past Brady.
you can't bet against Brady. So I think if Patriots do win, it'll be Brady, unless like Sony Michel gets over like 100 yards or James White goes off again. But who do you have for Super Bowl MVP both ways?
The Rams, I think it'll be one of the running backs, depending on how Todd Gurley does. If it's a feature back, then I think he'll get it. And then I think maybe CJ Anderson. CJ Anderson stepped up. He stepped up in the NFC Championship game, and throughout the playoffs, he ran all over the Cowboys. So if CJ Anderson gets more touches than Gurley, I think Anderson could be a potential MVP.
What about on the Patriots side if they win?
Well, you got Brady, but if you had to look elsewhere, James White's a good pick.
Sony Michel's
a good pick. Maybe Gronk if they give it to him more.
Maybe Edelman. Who do you think is an ultimate sleeper pick? Like, remember Andre Iguodala or Matthew Dellavedova winning that MVP? Who do you think could get Super Bowl MVP that just comes out of nowhere?
If you look on the defense for the Rams, I think, you look at them, I think maybe Marcus Peters. Because Marcus Peters is a fired-up player. And, if he gets put on, Edelman, I think maybe Brady looks at Edelman and maybe Peters either locks him down, gets a pick or two.
That's going to be another pivotal thing is Marcus Peters shutting down Edelman, probably under 50 yards. But I'm going to go sleeper pick overall for both teams. I have to look at Brandon Cooks going against an old team.
Got knocked out of that Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to go Brandon Cooks. He's motivated. I think that's going to be the pivotal point for the offense as well as how good Brandon Cooks can do.
And you look at the Patriots defense, I think someone to look for is maybe Stephon Gilmore,
Dante Hightower, Patrick Chung maybe, one of the McCourties.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. A lot of good stuff going to go on in the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be a good game. If it's not, then NFL is going to have a lot to pay because, as we said before, the Saints, that whole thing with them missing it. I know we talked about what's worse, the Rams winning it when they're not supposed to be there or them losing it.
Yeah, and I mean, you brought up a good point that winning is winning no matter how it is. I mean, Patriots fans aren't, fazed by all the, scandals for being Super Bowl. So, I mean, winning is still winning. And, I mean, if you lose, there's nothing worse than losing, especially in the Super Bowl.
But that's it for the Super Bowl, everyone. We're going to go into possible NFL trades this offseason. Dom is going to have a little bit more on that right now. NFL offseason is usually crazy. That we talked about the free agents for the NFL last week, but this year, free agency is not looking that good. And we talked about it last week. So what are some possible trades you could see happen, trade candidates?
You look at Bobby Wagner on the Seahawks. The Seahawks are kind of, tearing down that Legion of Boom. He's kind of the last one left as we expect Earl Thomas to leave. But maybe Bobby Wagner to the Chiefs.
That could be a good pick.
For a high pick, maybe second round pick. That could help both teams.
Bobby Wagner, he's the best middle linebacker in the league. They're definitely getting a first for him.
Yeah, first or second, maybe a second and a mid-rounder for them. That could help the Chiefs as they really need help on defense.
They do, especially at the linebacker position. But who else you got for NFL trade candidates?
One to look at, Emmanuel Sanders. Maybe he goes to the Ravens because the Ravens could use a veteran wide receiver that could help Lamar Jackson. Maybe, develop his arm more.
They do need a good veteran wide receiver. They have Michael Crabtree, but he can't get the job done. They have John Brown, not that great. Willie Snead. The wide receiver position over there is in dire need of someone. They need a speedy receiver. John Brown is not that great. Michael Crabtree's pretty good. He's not top of the line. Emmanuel Sanders does go there. He'll walk into that number one receiver spot.
And at 31 years old, they could probably get him for maybe a mid-round pick, like a third or a fourth round pick, kind of like we saw Golden Tate to the Eagles for a third round pick.
Yeah. Well, who else you got for those NFL candidates?
I think a surprise one people maybe aren't looking at, AJ Green. Maybe he goes to the Colts.
I said that a couple weeks ago on the podcast was the Bengals were open to trading AJ Green. It'll be fun for wide receivers because you got maybe Odell looking for a trade, Antonio Brown, AJ Green, you name it. You got Des Bryant. He's going to be a free agent. You look at these teams, there are top receivers that are either asking for a trade or teams just might trade them overall. Where do you think AJ Green might go? Give us like 3 teams.
He can go to the Colts.
Colts would be great.
Get into that force, either at the 1 or 2 spot with T.Y. Hilton. I think that could be that could make the offense so much better for Andrew Luck. He'll have people to throw to.
Hilton and Green would be that'd be pretty deadly.
That'd be a really deadly duo with Ebron at tight end. That'd be a big offense. Marlon Mack. Maybe the Jets. The Jets are kind of in on everyone right now. The Jets are kind of trying to build that offense up again to surround Sam Darnold, and a veteran like AJ Green could be what he needs.
The Cardinals are close to finalizing a contract extension with first baseman Paul Goldschmidt. We're told it's about 5 years, $140 million. There are no incentives. There are multiple incentives and no trade agreement.
And AJ Green, you got to think maybe, I don't know if the Cowboys would be in on him now since they just got Cooper, but the Cowboys really don't have much depth at the wide receiver position past Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm. And you got to look at the Chargers. I know I'm a fan, but we're losing Tyrell Williams in free agency. He says he wants to be paid like a number one receiver. He might as well go play for the University of Bridgeport, and we don't even have a football team. So, because we're Division II. And he wants to get paid like a number one receiver. Maybe the Chargers trade Mike Williams and we get AJ Green. Maybe we trade for T.Y. Hilton. Maybe I'd be totally fine with giving someone Mike Williams and a second rounder for one of their top receivers. I'm fine with trading Mike Williams, a second and a 7th or a 6th for AJ Green. I'd be fine with that. AJ Green and Keenan Allen, and then Travis Benjamin as well.
Mm-hmm. That'd be pretty good.
That'd be fine. I'd be great with that. But then we'd have to bring up Dylan Cantrell from Texas Tech. Great wide receiver, good hands. He's a great player, big body. I think he could be a filler in that Mike Williams spot. And then maybe we sign Des Bryant. Maybe we could sign him for less than Tyrell Williams. I'd be fine with that. Yeah,
Tyrell Williams, he's not getting that number one receiver money from the Chargers. And he's clearly not the number one. Like, he's not anything up to Keenan Allen's, status. So
yeah, Keenan Allen is a great route runner. He's very underrated. Do you think Keenan Allen is a top 5 receiver in the NFL?
I think so. I do. I think people they overlook him.
Mm-hmm. So if you had to put up a top 5 wide receiver bunch, no order, just shoot them out, 5 of them.
Julio Jones, Odell Beckham, Antonio Brown, Keenan Allen, and DeAndre Hopkins.
That's literally the 5 I would go with. I would go with Julio, Antonio, DeAndre, Keenan, OBJ. Mm-hmm. Literally same as you. Some people want to throw in Devontae Adams, whatever it may be.
And he said he's the best wide receiver in the league.
Yeah, I don't know about that. He's good. He's definitely outside the top 5. He's like 6 or 7, but he'll really have to prove it next year.
Yeah.
Because look at what he did without Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Awful. So
you think Aaron Rodgers makes him and
oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers, he's like Tom Brady. He makes the receiver any day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some more trade candidates?
So I got LaShawn McCoy maybe making a return to the Eagles. as the Eagles do need a feature back. Is Darren Sproles ain't going to cover it, and last year? Next year will probably be his last year. So LaShawn McCoy may be coming back for a mid-round pick because McCoy's gotten the injury bug.
Oh, yeah. And he still produces pretty well. He's obviously not what he used to be, back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty good trade.
And you see, the big one, Nick Foles.
Oh, yeah.
We wonder where he's going to go.
In free agency.
Or if the Eagles sign him and then trade him.
We were talking about that before, Dom and I. We talk a lot about we agree on this very hard is about them trading Wentz and not Foles. I think we talked about it last week too. We could see Wentz in a Broncos uniform, Panthers, Redskins, Giants.
Yeah.
I could see that happening. Him going to the Giants. Who knows?
It's just we did see yesterday that Cam Newton is expected to be ready for training camp.
But do they want him to play? Do they want him to be fully ready?
We'll see how he recovers with the surgery. I think the Panthers, I don't know, they haven't been too cautious with their players in the past, as Cam Newton's played through a lot, and they haven't stopped him.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they throw him out in the field and risk him at getting injured again.
Mm-hmm. So who else do you have for your trade candidates? I love hearing these. I love seeing who's going to get. My favorite thing more than signings is trades. I love trades.
So there's still the things about Eli Manning maybe being traded to the Jaguars. That's still up in the air. Everyone's saying, well, he should pull what, his brother Peyton did. Leave and finish his career, like last few years of his career, with a new team and get some new scenery. And I agree that it would be pretty cool to see Eli Manning get on a team that has a defense now that could help him. And,
see, the thing with the Giants was their defense was good this year. It's just they couldn't score.
The Giants, I'd say the first half of the season, the Giants defense held its own and the offense was the problem. But after that bye week, when the Giants started reeling off a couple wins, at the end of the season, it was the defense that could not hold down in the fourth quarter. So the Giants would go into the fourth quarter with leads, and the defense would just collapse. It was almost a repeat of 2015. The offense picked it up. The offense was actually this year the leading offensive scoring team in the NFC East. So
I don't know about that.
They scored the most points in the NFC East.
Hold on. Look at the offenses they're going against. Redskins. Who do the Redskins have on offense?
Other than
they lost Alex Smith. Jordan Reed was out for a couple games this year. No wide receivers. Their running back position was in peril. Look at the Cowboys. No tight end. They got Amari Cooper way too late, even though they made the playoffs anyway, but they still got him late. If they had Amari Cooper for the full season, they'd be the top scoring offense in that division.
Yeah.
But outside of the NFC East, you just can't compare them to the NFC East because if you look at those offenses, look at the quarterbacks. Yeah. Redskins, no names. Eagles, Foles, and Wentz. That's all right.
Yeah.
But look at their targets in Philadelphia. Zach Ertz at the wide receiver position. Alshon Jeffrey, he was injured a little bit.
Nelson Aguilar
is pretty decent.
Golden Tate
they got late, though. So, I don't know. It's just hard to compare them to offenses that were kind of inconsistent and not really there.
The Eagles could have made the Super Bowl again. Alshon Jeffrey holds onto that ball. I wouldn't have been surprised if they would have beat the Rams.
Speaking of wide receivers, Jarvis Landry wants Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell on the Browns.
Well, I don't think they'll be able to fork up enough money for both of them. Or
the Steelers did.
How much could
Browns have a lot of cap space?
That's the problem. That was the problem the Steelers were going to eventually run into. They had Big Ben, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown. But the thing is, what were they going to do with them when their contracts ended? Because none of those guys are taking pay cuts.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Brown and Bell, they're not taking pay cuts. So that was going to be their problem. Who is going to take, they weren't going to be able to keep all three of them forever. And now you got players on defense like Watt. People are going to want money, and the Steelers are going to run out of it.
Yeah. So any more on your trade list?
I mean, that
Any
was really
candidates?
it
That was
for the
your
offseason.
top list. So we're going to move out of the NFL right now. We're done with that for the kickoff talk. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, if you don't like what we're talking about, you could skip a little bit in to the podcast, skip to something else. Just make sure you're listening. The Mavs and Knicks, they made a trade yesterday, a little bit peculiar. Knicks acquired Dennis Smith Jr., DeAndre Jordan, Wesley Matthews, and 2 first-round picks for Kristaps Porzingis, Tim Hardaway Jr., Courtney Lee, and Trey Burke. Now, Dom, as we're both Knicks fans, we were talking about this last night. We both agreed that the Knicks won this trade, picking up 2 first-rounders, a top point guard in the league. I don't know. He's going to be top in a couple years.
Yeah.
Good young. I'll say that. Good young point guard, everyone.
Yeah.
DeAndre Jordan, top 5 center in the league. Wesley Matthews, they could flip for another player. You could pair Wesley Matthews and one of those first rounders for a top, player.
Yeah.
They get rid of Kristaps Porzingis, who is going to be a free agent anyway. Who knows if he's going to play this year? If he does, it's already passed. It's going to be past February.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to make the playoffs, so there's really no point in him coming back and making a splash.
Yeah.
Get rid of Tim Hardaway Jr., too big of a contract. Courtney Lee, he's old, doesn't really play, too big of a contract. Trey Burke doesn't really matter because Dennis Smith kind of outweighs that. Wesley Matthews, he could replace Tim Hardaway Jr., and he's better than Tim Hardaway Jr. 2 first-round picks. How can Knicks fans be mad at this? I know it's Kristaps, but whatever. But they have to remember, Kristaps was going to leave anyway.
Yeah.
And you set up tons of cap space.
Oh, yeah.
How can you hate this trade, ladies and gentlemen? Dom, give me your thoughts, because I'm just going to start getting even more mad.
Yeah, no, it's kind of silly seeing everywhere on social media just people posting and ranting about how Porzingis is gone and how the Knicks, front office is, ruining the franchise. I mean, the Knicks were going nowhere. They had to make some moves, get rid of these guys. And Porzingis hasn't played all season, and he was going to leave, like you said. So would you rather him just, if he doesn't even play anymore, and just let him walk and you get nothing in return, or get rid of him, get stuff in return, like 2 first-round picks? That's insane. And now you can use that as, trade bait, or maybe just use those picks and, sign some big guys, because we were talking about it.
They were talking about it, maybe getting Kyrie, Durant, and also, maybe trading for Anthony Davis, which we'll get into right now. But I think the Knicks, they're a top contender for the Lakers. Knicks are top contender with the Lakers to get Anthony Davis, as he wants to go to either or. I'm telling you, if we get Anthony Davis,
you get Anthony Davis, that makes it much more intriguing for Kyrie Irving to come.
People want to go there. I would trade for Anthony Davis and Bradley Beal, and then you sign Kyrie Irving. I wouldn't worry about Durant.
Yeah,
I would just do Irving, trade for Bradley Beal and Anthony Davis. I would trade DeAndre Jordan, a first rounder, and Frank Ntilikina. Maybe you throw in Noah Vonleh to the Pelicans for Anthony Davis. Then you trade Wesley Matthews, the other first-round pick, and Marco Arzonja, whatever his name is, I can't pronounce it, to the Wizards for Bradley Beal. Then you set up that team, Bradley Beal, Anthony Davis. You put Mitchell Robinson in there. Maybe you throw in Enes Kanter to the Wizards.
Yeah.
Who knows? But Anthony Davis, his trade requests, landing spots. Obviously, we just said Lakers and Knicks. What are your thoughts on this Anthony Davis?
So I think Anthony Davis, I mean, it'd be awesome to get him to New York, but I feel like you leave it. I mean, he's going to want to probably go to the Lakers because he probably wants to win now. And I think with that, I mean, I don't know if that puts them up in the top of the West, but I think it could, boost them from where they are right now. And get him, up into the playoffs. And, I mean, LeBron's LeBron, and he's, led a team by himself before. So if he gets the assistance from Davis at the other forward position.
So trade packages. If the Knicks do trade for Anthony Davis, or the Lakers do, give me your projected trade packages.
Oh, well, if you're the Knicks, you're going to have to throw in some, first-round picks. Maybe you get 1 first-round pick. like you said, DeAndre Jordan, you know,
I'm telling you
it's
right
hard.
there.
It's hard.
I
Like
would throw them DeAndre Jordan, a first round pick, Noah Vonleh, Frank Ntilikina. Bingo.
Yeah.
That'll do it for me. You get a top center, you get a first round pick,
Mm-hmm.
you get Noah Vonleh, a pretty good forward, and you get Frank Ntilikina, a good young point guard who could play defense. That's good. And then if they want something else, you throw in it a second rounder.
Yeah. I mean, you got to go all out. Like, there's no holding back. Like, the New York market, no one wants to sit there and go through a rebuild.
No.
The fans want to win, and they want you to win now.
Mm-hmm.
So next year, like, they want to win next year. They want you to go from worst to first next year.
Yeah, a New York team being in a rebuild for longer than a year is pretty far and in between. You know, you don't really see that a lot. But yeah, that's it for Anthony Davis. I hope he comes to the Knicks, but they're gonna have to pair him with some 2 or 3 good players to make that team very good. But hopefully he's coming to the Knicks. I think he goes to the Lakers, but that's just me. We're going to get into the NASCAR Hall of Fame right now. Dom is going to take us away for that.
All right, so tonight, 8 o'clock, the Hall of Fame induction for the 5 inductees of the 2019 class will be inducted tonight. First, we'll start with Davey Allison. He had 191 starts. He had 19 career wins, 14 poles, almost won a championship. He did a lot, and people put up his stats with, the current, arguably the best driver right now, Kyle Busch. They put up his stats compared at like the same point, and their stats were so similar. It was kind of hard to go against what Davey Allison could have did until he was killed in a helicopter crash. So it was unfortunate, but what Davey Allison did for the sport was a lot, and this was a well-deserved induction. Then we move on to Alan Kulwicki. Alan Kulwicki had 207 starts. He was the 1992 champion. He had 5 career wins and 24 poles, and he really revolutionized the driver-owner portion. Tony Stewart went later on to follow on his path. And winning that 1992 champion with his own car was just amazing. And unfortunately, he was also killed the next year. And it was a really, really tough time for the sport. But Alan Kulwicki, a well-deserved induction. Then you got team owner Roger Penske. He's done a lot outside of NASCAR, but now he's actually getting recognized for his NASCAR progress. Over 2,000 starts in the Cup Series. He has 2 championships in the Cup Series, 2012 with Brad Keselowski, 2018, Joey Logano. He has over 100 wins, including 2 Daytona 500s. And what he's done for the sport has been really good. Penske's a household name, and really you're not going to see that team go down, maybe ever. And then you got Jack Roush, another owner, over 3,500 starts. He has 2 championships in 2003 with Matt Kenseth, in 2004 with Kurt Busch, and over 100 wins. Jack Roush, really, another household name in the sport. Jack Roush, the Cat in the Hat. He's done a lot for this sport, and we'll continue to see that moving on. Hopefully they can pick up that program because it's kind of going down as they just shut down the Xfinity program, and they brought in Ryan Newman to drive the 6, and they still have Ricky Stenhouse in the 17. And last but not least, Jeff Gordon. Remarkable career. 805 starts. 797 of them were consecutive from the last race in 1992 throughout the last race of 2015. Then you got 4 championships, 1995, 1997, 1998, which was one of the best years recorded ever in NASCAR, 13 wins leading to a championship, and 2001. 93 career wins, 3rd all-time. 3 Daytona 500s and 5 Brickyard 400s, including the inaugural Brickyard 400 in 1994, and 81 career poles. And Jeff Gordon really revolutionized the sport. He brought in the young crowd. Back then, people were looking for, 35-year-old veteran drivers to drive their cars. But then Rick Hendrick took on this kid from California, Indiana, and put him in his car, and he just excelled from the beginning. And now, ever since then, everyone wants that young talent. They want to find the next Jeff Gordon. as he went up head-to-head with Dale Earnhardt, one of the greatest of all time. And they had one of the best rivalries in all of NASCAR. And it's just amazing what Jeff Gordon's done. Great person outside of the track. And now he's in the Fox Sports booth and providing great analysis.
So that's some great NASCAR stuff. Dom is our NASCAR guy. We each have different things we do here at Open Table Sports. We do have a big team. We're growing. Dom is our NASCAR guy. So if you need anything with NASCAR, thoughts, questions, whatever it may be, just shoot Open Table Sports a question. Just put at Open Table Sports, whatever it may be, and Dom will answer it or get back to you on it. Now more with Dom's expertise in the NHL. He's going to run over the All-Star Weekend results, stats, whatever it may be. He's got it for NHL and NASCAR. Also tennis. Dom has been our tennis insider as well. How many places do you see that have tennis and NASCAR inside stuff? So take it away, Dom.
So we'll go right to the All-Star, the final game. The Metropolitan took the victory. Henrik Lundqvist in net. Obviously, people are writing him off, but Henrik Lundqvist proved what he can still do with, a really good defense, as the Rangers are also in one of those rebuild years. So Lundqvist, being loyal as he is, staying with the Rangers, and still showing that he still got it even at his old age. So he's still got a few years left, and getting that cup for Henrik Lundqvist, don't rule it out. But we saw Sidney Crosby get the All-Star Game MVP. He did really good. He got 8 points throughout the whole All-Star weekend. 4 goals and 4 assists. And, he had 2 goals and an assist in the final game against the Atlantic, or in the first game against the Atlantic Division. And then he had 2 goals and 3 assists in a 10-5 win against the Central Division. So it was an exciting weekend. A lot of, the challenges, all these sports developing into like those cool little challenges before the All-Star games themselves.
Oh my God, I can't believe this. The Pro Bowl had more viewers than last year's average NBA Eastern Conference Finals game.
That's pretty sad, I'd say, because for everyone talking about how much they don't care about the Pro Bowl,
they're still watching. What clowns.
Yeah.
What clowns. Go back to the NHL because I'm gonna get mad. I'm gonna start going off on the Pro Bowl. Then we're gonna get off track, like we do on the Mario Chaos and the Kid podcast. We get off track. Too much chicanery on that podcast, but we love it. Go check it out, ladies and gentlemen, please. If you want a good time, just listen to that podcast. You'll be in better spirits. Remember, it's explicit.
It's pretty cool to see what Crosby did. He was really sick the whole week leading up to the All-Star game. He had to sit out the All-Star skills challenges on Friday. And, once he got out there, he said he felt better than he thought. He was almost going to pull out of the All-Star game. And for the Metropolitan Division, good thing he didn't, because that could have changed the results on everything. We also, Letang did really good, a teammate of Crosby's. And, Matthew Barzal did really well. 2 goals, 4 assists. It was a good weekend. I think hockey has one of the best All-Star weekends. I think it's better than the NFL. I'd almost like to see baseball do a little more. I don't know if they really could. They got the home run derby. I don't know if they can do any more, challenge-wise.
Yeah, there's not really much there that they could do or expand.
Because, NBA, they've got their dunk contest and
the skills challenge. Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, then again, baseball, they have the celebrity game.
They could do a skills challenge for maybe pitchers to pitch through holes.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. Cool. Or try to do like base running. Do different challenges for base running, quickest to get around the diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Have like Brett Gardner, Billy Hamilton, like the fastest guys. I'm trying to think of what else they could do for MLB. Maybe like longest home run, they could tie that in. Quickest home run, fastest swing, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's a couple things they could do, but yeah. Speaking of the MLB. Should the MLB put a trade or not a trade deadline? Should they put a deadline on free agency?
It's an interesting
It's an interesting
question.
topic. It's coming up more and more with fans. Along with the MLB putting like a clock on pitching to make games like a 2.5 hour fiasco. But I think they should put a deadline on free agency because right now you still have Harper, Machado, Craig Kimbrell, Gio Gonzalez. You have top guys that are still there. And it's February 1st.
Yeah, I mean, they're spring train. We're not far from spring training.
Just a couple weeks away, my friend.
You know, Super Bowl ends, and now it's time for baseball, and these guys haven't signed yet, so that's kind of iffy. I mean, we saw a few players last year not even signed before spring training.
Yeah, that happened a little. I know the Yankees signed Neil Walker during spring training.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, maybe we see that, but a couple of things might happen even when the season starts. Who knows? But they should put a deadline on free agency and not like February 1st. They should make it literally probably like in the end of January, probably like January 20th or something like that.
Yeah.
They have to put a definite deadline on this because say there are still big outfielders waiting to get signed or infielders just because Machado and Harper haven't signed because they're waiting for that market. Because why would a team sign a lower guy when they could just sign Harper or Machado?
Yeah.
So all these smaller guys, like mid-tier guys, they're waiting for these contracts. So their sit time is sitting on Harper Machado.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just crazy. Hopefully we're talking about these signings next Friday because if we're not, I am going to be pissed.
Yeah, no, it's definitely getting annoying waiting for it, hearing all these reports. We were hearing stuff back in the beginning of December, and now they're still not, and it's not like someone's, guaranteed to have them. Not like someone's, all in on them. We don't know if someone's, ready to sign that. It's one of those things that it's probably just going to come out in the middle of the day, and it's just going to come out of nowhere who signs who.
It's like Patrick Corbin. But, yeah, there should be a deadline, I would say, around the end of January, maybe even beginning of January, because you got to think the offseason starts in November.
Mm-hmm.
So November, December, January, that's 3 months. You can't sign someone in 3 months?
Yeah, no, it's
3 months? Stupid. So now we're going to go into our halftime viewer mail. Ladies and gentlemen, please send in those questions if we put out those questionnaires, whatever it may be. You get shouted out here on the podcast. If you send in enough questions, you can get a call in with the show. So send in enough questions. Make sure it's a good question. Don't send in any stupid questions. Put in logical ones. Dom and I love this segment because we like to give back to our fans and everything. So we're going to get right into it. Is Kelly Bryant staying at Mizzou a good idea? This is from Kevin in Lake Ryan, Michigan. What do you think about that, Dom?
I think it's an interesting question. I like it. I think, obviously, with their whole situation, getting the 1-year bowl ban, Kelly Bryant, I don't know. It's tough because, I mean, you get you get those loyalty points for staying, but I mean, do you want to really stay in that whole fiasco? That's the interesting
that's
question.
Tough.
It's a tough deal because no matter how good you do next year, no one's going to care. It's not going to matter at the end of the season. I mean,
it's not like Missouri is gonna.
It's not like they're going to take the nation by storm either way. But I mean, if I were him, I'd leave.
It doesn't. I mean, for him, it depends on how much he loves the school as well. Because he might have like a personal connection to the school. He might like it a lot. Mm-hmm. That might keep him there. Might not even be the sports. So what do the Knicks need to do to become a contender next season? This is from our good pal Gunnar in Orange, Connecticut. As we said before, trading for Anthony Davis is going to be pivotal. Signing Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Can they sign Irving, Durant, and Davis all at once? No, they're going to have to pick 2 out of the 3 of them. I said earlier, maybe they go cheap and they get Kemba Walker, Chris Middleton, Tobias Harris. Maybe they go cheaper and they get a bunch of lower all-stars, top-tier guys in the NBA. So, excuse me. So maybe we'll see what happens. What do you think the Knicks need to do?
So if you get, even you keep DeAndre Jordan. See, you keep him. He's a again, you said top 5 center.
They'll have to re-sign him because he's a free agent after
I
this
think
year.
they could do that. You know, they're going to have so much cap. They have so much cap now. They have Porzingis off of them, and you know it's doable. I think you get Kyrie Irving, and we saw Kyrie Irving today say that people asked what he's doing. He said he's only focused this year, and he doesn't owe anyone anything on his future.
It's going to be interesting for the Knicks cap space picks. Good top first pick. Maybe they get the number 1 pick, number 2, number 3. They're guaranteed a top 3 pick in this NBA draft in 2019. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting for the Knicks. Tons of money, tons of picks. You name it, Knicks got it. They're going to be a contender. If not in 2019, 2020 season, then the 2020, 2021 season.
Yeah.
Wow, I ran through that, Dominic.
Yeah.
Next question. What is up with the Padres going after everyone? This is from Rick in Siesta Key, Florida. Thank you, Rick, for being a loyal Open Table Sports fan. What do you think is going on with the Padres? Ooh. I have some words, but I'll let you kick this one off.
Oh, man, the Padres. I mean, they have to have money. I mean, they don't have anyone.
Speaking of MLB, Zach Duke, left-handed relieving pitcher, has a deal with the Cincinnati Reds. Go on.
And with the Padres, they said they've talked to Machado. But does that team really have anything to offer? Like, would someone big like Manny Machado or Bryce Harper say, let me go to San Diego?
They'll have to make multiple moves to make that a contender. No, they have no pitching. Yeah. They're interested in Gio Gonzalez. They're interested in a lot of people. For them to make it a contender, they're going to have to say Machado, Harper, Gio Gonzalez, Craig Kim, everyone.
It would take a lot.
Everyone. Literally everyone who's left to make that team a contender.
Yeah.
Right now, they just have Will Myers.
Then
that's it.
Will Myers ain't leading no team.
No.
To anywhere.
Awful. Huge contract, not a lot. But they just want to seem like they're contenders. They're fed up with being a terrible team. They just want to go back to what they used to be.
Yeah.
So now we are going to go into the rundown. This is where things go quick. Bing, bang, boom. Excuse me again. The Astros signed starting pitcher Wade Miley to a 1-year, $4.5 million contract. A good signing. He had a great year at the Brewers.
Mm-hmm.
Wish he came back. This probably moves the Brewers into signing Gio Gonzalez. We will see. Maybe getting Corey Kluber. We are still in on him. Diamondbacks. My lips are dry. Diamondbacks signed relieving pitcher Greg Holland to a 1-year contract. The Rockies signed first baseman Mark Reynolds to a minor league contract. I don't know.
Amazing how quick Mark Reynolds went.
I know. Blue Jays signed infielder Freddie Galvis to a 1-year, $4 million contract. I love that signing. That's a good signing. Marlins signed infielder Neil Walker to a 1-year contract. I love that.
Neil Walker did some good things with the Yankees.
Yeah, he's a great hitter. Rangers signed relieving pitcher Sean Kelly to a 1-year, $2.5 million deal. Love that signing.
Not a bad deal.
Kings traded defenseman Jake Muzzin to the Maple Leafs for Carl Grundstrom and Sean Dursey. Also a first-round pick. I love that move by the Kings. Since I'm a Kings fan, everyone knows that. The Cowboys promoted former quarterback Kellen Moore to their offensive coordinator. I think that works well. As I said last week on the show, I love when players become coaches. It really helps.
And now you see Jason Garrett
take a step back. Giants and outside linebacker Connor Barwin part ways. Jets have no interest in Kareem Hunt. Panthers outside linebacker Julius Peppers retired. Penguins traded all centers were in this trade. It's crazy. Center Derek Brassard, center Riley Sheehan, second-round pick, and 2 fourth-rounders to the Panthers for Nick.
Yeah, you got Jugstad.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that. Some of these hockey players, they have crazy names, and I can't pronounce them. And center Jared McCann, pretty big trade right there. Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki are going to be added to the NBA All-Star team as special additions. Lindsey Vonn retired. Huge news for the Olympics. The Minnesota Lynx signed Karima Christmas Kelly. That's a name and a half.
Yeah.
That team is obviously very good. The Lynx being a top team in the WNBA. That is it for the Open Table Sports podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully we gave you guys good insight and background to what's going on in the sports world. Let us know any other thoughts or anything you guys have to help us better you. We are here for you. This is it, just me and Dom today. Next week we'll be having everyone back. Mason, Mark, Angelo, Well, I think Antonio's going to be gone for a little bit, but we are spread out as always today. Open Table Sports team is somewhat spread out now, but some big stuff's going to be coming in the future. Anything you want to tell the fans as we go, Dominic?
You have anything to tell us? Let us know.
Please,
we'll get it on here.
We're open for everything. Let us know. Make sure you reply, like, retweet, share, whatever it may be. Let us know. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be back next Friday at about 1:30, 2 p.m. Thank you for listening, as always.